تكبير نار رسالة نار رسالة نار هيدري هيدري صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا.
الله أكبر.
ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على الرسول النبي الأمي الذي أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه سراجا منيرا، سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد
وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد
ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يوم عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المبين قوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us our prayers, our worship, our azadari, what we have done in the last few days. We've busied ourselves in commemoration of what transpired on the plains of Karbala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your tears, and may the tears be cause of increasing in your ma'rifah, the ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the ma'rifah of Allah cannot be attained without the ma'rifah of the Prophet, and the ma'rifah of the Prophet cannot be attained without the ma'rifah of the Ahl Bayt. And the ma'rifah of the Ahl Bayt cannot be attained without the ma'rifah of Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, Ajjalallahu ta'ala.
صل على محمد
These are not my words, these are words from the dua. If you were to look up the dua Zaman al-Ghaiba, you will find this. Allahumma arif nafsaka fa innaka lam ta'arif nafsaka lam arif nabiyyaka tadiyan. Everybody wants to go to Allah, everybody wants to arrive at Allah, everybody wants to gain proximity to Allah. But they choose different channels. Allah has identified His channel. It says, to get to me, you need to know how to get to me. That requires knowledge. If you're looking for the city of knowledge, that is Muhammad, and you look for its door, that is Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam.
صل على محمد.
The aftermath of Karbala, what transpired after Karbala, was the topic given to me because it was suggested. Some of the young ones, young brothers, asked for it so they can connect with Karbala. There's a few ways of looking at this subject. You can look at this subject on a historical level, where we talk about chronological events. Ashura happened, and then 11th of Muharram, 12th of Muharram. They went to Kufa, and then they have Safar, and then on the way back they come to Karbala. That is one way of looking at it, we shall discuss that. The other way of looking at the aftermath of Karbala is to look at the apparent, yani dinduniya transfer of wilaya from Imam al-Hussein to Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salatu because the essence of the existence in his time is the hujjah of Allah in that time. Time exists for us. We exist in the past and the present and the future. Allah exists timeless, and his hujjah are timeless, and his hujjah are timeless. We are bound by time and space. The hujjah of Allah, time and space, is subservient to the hujjah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As is evident with Imam Sajjad alayhi salatu wasalam,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad,
was bound in chains and ropes. The Arabs would not treat him as a slave and move him from town to town the way they had restricted and bound Imam Sajjad alayhi salatu wasalam. And in that they were jeering and cheering, and they were happy. They would celebrate. Finally, the Banu Hashim, in their small petty head, are under our thumbs now. They are at our mercy. It is in this instance you will find books of riwayat. And brothers, please acknowledge and understand, when I say books of riwayat, I'm not talking about riwayat that can be challenged because there's a da'if riwayat. When I say riwayat, I'm talking about riwayat that are mustanad, riwayat that are quoted by Shaykh al-Wahid, Shaykh al-Bahba'ani. If you want me to take more names, I can take more names. But Imam Sajjad alayhi salatu wasalam looks at those people who are zahiran, his captives. People who have held Imam Sajjad as a prisoner, people who are zahiran, his captives. Imam looks at them, he says, what do you celebrate? They say, well, we the Banu Umayyah have victory upon you, the Banu Hashim. And now you are bound in chains. The Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, with a flick of his wrist, he dropped the chains. And the chains dropped to the earth. And then the Imam, the flick of the wrist, made another ishara, another command, another sign of Allah. And the chains came back to where they belong. The Imam says, you are the captives. We, Al Muhammad, never become captives. Please say Muhammad wa
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali.
The only thing that rules and reigns supreme is the Mashi'a and the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Mashi'a and the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another day we'll talk about the Maqam al-Rida. What does al-Rida mean? Who is al-Mardiya? Her status in the Mashi'a of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is another place for it right now. This is another place for it right now. But understand, everything happens because Allah had dictated it such. When I say dictated it such, He's willed it such. And Imam Hussein manifested it such. What we see, if I was to only restrict Karbala and the event that took place on the plains of Karbala in chronological sequence, then we will never understand when Bibi Zainab looks up and she says, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. History does not have within it confines to tell you the depth of the understanding and the meaning of her kalimat. There's so many ways of trying to understand what Bibi Zainab said. What does she mean, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila? Does she mean then? Because all we saw was a massacre. What we saw was butchery. What we saw was little children being beheaded by beasts who look like human beings. Where is the Jameel and where is the Jamal? It is someone who on an essential level, someone at the caliber of Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayha, عالمة غير معلمة عقيدة العرب. زين أب زينة أبيها Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayha. And we've spoken about this before. We've spoken about this before. Amirul Mu'mineen is the Taj of the Risala of Rasulullah. And Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayha is the gem that adorns the Taj. Salamullah alayha. So when she speaks, what Jumaj does she speak of? And this lives for time and time eternity. What they perceived as a loss, what they thought was victory for them, is now you look around and now you see what Imam Hussein has done to awaken the latent humanity that exists within each human being. A beautiful poet in his beautiful poetry has said, in Urdu I would narrate this, इंसान को बेदार को खोले न तो हर कौम पुकारेगी हमारे यहाँ. Everybody would want to attribute to Imam Hussein. Why is the case? Because Imam Hussein on that beautiful canvas of Karbala has manifested Allah like Allah had never been manifested before. Had that been the case, Imam Hassan would never say La yawma ka yawma ka. Had that been the case, had this not been the case, then the Imam Hussein himself would not say. He says, I hold Allah as witness and testify. My grandfather, nor my father, not my brother, has had companions like you, my companions. Nobody has had brothers like you, my brothers. So the canvas set out on the plains of Karbala, designed by Imam Hussein himself. These people think they have control. They have no control. They don't control anything. They can't control themselves, let alone control anything in Allah's creation. What happened after Karbala? The build-up was there. 7th of Muharram, the water was cut off. 10th of Muharram, Imam Hussein's head was cut. This is Karbala. The night after, Imam Hussein's family, his loved ones, his young children, his sisters and daughters are sitting in the ashes of the tents that the night before Imam Hussein prayed Salatul Layl in that tent. The night before Ali Asghar was in that tent, Ali al-Akbar was in that tent. In the ashes of that, Bibi Zainab sits with her own Hisa and her own Amana, the children of the Ahl. This is the 11th of Muharram. The next day they're taken to Kufa. 72 heads upon spear tops. 72 heads upon spear tops. Little children identifying those heads. This is my father Hussein. This is my uncle Abul Fadl. That's my brother Ali al-Akbar. Understand the atrocities. We cannot imagine. It is beyond our imagination and understanding. What happened on the plains of Karbala. What had to be witnessed by little children. I've said this another place. Allah increased in the tawfiqat of my teacher who identified this point. He says, if you were to look at history on the build-up of Karbala, his 3-year-old daughter Imam Hussein is very vocal in many different places. You will see her communicate with her father in Medina. You might find conversations of her with Imam Hussein in Mecca. You will see her enter in a dialogue with Abul Fadl on the plains of Karbala. But after Ashura, this little daughter became very quiet. There's not much you will find in the books of history where this daughter of Imam Hussein, Salamullahi alayha, bab al-hawa'ij. Allah give us the tawfiq to go visit this ghareeb daughter of Imam Hussein. In life they were separated, in death they're separated too. Have you heard of a father buried in Karbala and his 3-year-old is buried all the way in Sham? The daughter who sleeps on the chest of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who sleeps so intimate, so close to her father, is so far removed and far away. This sister of Imam al-Sajjad, this daughter of Sayyid al-Shuhada, is very quiet, very minimal dialogue, not much to say. Who does she speak to? Her aunt Zainab Salamullah alayha, who's forced to cover her face with her own hair in Kufa, in Sham. Who does she speak to? Imam al-Sajjad, who has labored by the heavy chains and the ropes that he holds and he walks with. There's detail in history mentioned the types of the bound he was bound by. I don't have the courage to speak on that. Please do excuse me on that, but who does she speak to? When she speaks, she complains because she can't breathe. Because she's bound with the other little girls and boys with ropes, dragged like sheep. Who is this girl? This is the daughter of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Who is this girl? This is the daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Bound like sheep, dragged to the bazaar and the souk and the markets where people are cheering. Those who feel sorry and those who feel pity, they throw dates at them for sadaqah. A little girl who's that age, who's hungry and tired and wounded. The wound is not only the physical wound, it is the wound that has silenced her. She looks at the dates and she rejects it. She says, we are the children of Rasulullah. We don't take sadaqah. We are the children. This is the daughter of Sayyid. Quiet she goes through. The ayah I recited, ayah number 9 of Surah Kahf, is the ayah Imam Hussein recited when he got to Kufa. Hasibta. To draw attention to people, to remind people, to tell people. Those who were present in the 10 lecture series that we were there in the other hall, it was very intentional that I chose to mention for the first 40 minutes stories from the Anbiya. I chose to speak of Nabi Adam, of Nabi Nuh, of Nabi Ibrahim, Nabi Ismail, all the Anbiya, specifically those mentioned in the ziyarah of Sayyid al-Shuhada, their wives. Why? For you to understand Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam carries the legacy of the Anbiya. He does not act as an independent agency. Imam Hussein acts as the one who carries the legacies of the Anbiya. Yusuf with his tests, Ismail with his tests, Maryam with her tests, Ibrahim with his tests. Where is the test of Hussein compared to all of these Anbiya? Why does Allah mention the test and Allah says in the Quran, because they were tested and they were successful, Ibrahim, you are my Khalil. Because you were tested and you were successful, Musa, you are my Khalil. Because you were tested and you were successful, Isa, you are Allah. Compare all of the tests and compare the test with Imam Hussein. There's no comparison. Compare their test to the test of Sakina bint al-Hussein salamullah alayhi. When the sister of Musa was told by the mother, I have placed Musa in the bassinet, follow Musa and see where he ends up. When she sees Musa end up at the door of Fir'aun, she stopped and she cried and she was afraid. But Musa was returned to her sister. Ali Asghar never came back to Sayyidina. Who do you compare Al-Muhammad with? There is no comparison with any of Allah's creation, Al-Muhammad and Ghair Al-Muhammad. There's no comparison. Never. The tests of the Anbiya, Ibrahim was afraid to see Ismail cut up. Such Sakina saw Ali Akbar Akbar. Allah bless you. Allah bless your tears. Allah accept from you. My brothers and those sisters listening, know and understand this is a lutf from Az-Zahra Salamullahi alayha, that 1400 years after the passing of Imam Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salatu salam, you sit here and your heart is connected to the heart of the Zahra Salamullahi alayha. And I don't say this in khitaba. If you were to say the fada'il of Imam al-Hussein, how would Rasulullah react? He would be happy. Rasulullah is happy at the fada'il of Imam al-Hussein. You are happy at the fada'il of Imam Hussein. Your heart can never understand the maqam of Rasulullah, but you felt the same emotion. On a smaller degree, your heart is connected to who? To Sayyid al-Shuhada, to Rasulullah. And when you hear of the musibah of Imam al-Hussein, the mother cries, and the lovers of his son, they cry. Allah bless these tears. Allah bless your heart. And this is in riwayat. Pick up the riwayat, read the riwayat. Brothers, sometimes I feel I'm insisting a lot, but if you want to learn correct aqidah, pick up the ziyarat and pick up the riwayat of the Ahlul. Anytime somebody wants to explain Imam al-Hussein, again, I've said this many times, but I feel it's very necessary. Anyone speaks on Imam al-Hussein, it is his subjective understanding, because he's far from the object. He's far from the object in time, he's far from the object in subject, he's far from object in creation. The only person who can explain Hussein is either Hussein or the children of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Pick up the riwayat, pick up the ziyarat, and understand and then identify who Sayyid al-Shuhada is. What is the maqam of Sayyid al-Shuhada? What is the purpose of Karbala? I ask you, and I leave you with a question today. We're asking for an aftermath of Karbala. When Imam al-Sajjad came back to Medina, you've heard of this Waqi al-Hirra, Waqi al-Hirra. When Yazid came into Masjid al-Nabawi with his horses and his stables, he sent an army. You know how many daughters of Ashab became pregnant because of the army of Yazid? What did he do with the Masjid al-Rasul? It became a stable for his horses. Now I leave you with a question. And again, as always, I'll stay back if anybody has any questions to ask. What was Imam Sajjad's role in all of this? What did Imam Sajjad do in all of this? What did Imam al-Baqir do in all of this? The world is on fire. Khane Kaaba is attacked. Should not Imam Sajjad stand up and defend the hurma of the Kaaba? Question. Oh Imam Sajjad, Muslims are being killed. Save these daughters of the Ashab. Listen. Imam Sajjad, right after Karbala, saved the daughters of the Ashab, O Imam Sajjad. Okay, now you've grown up Imam Baqir, why don't you take a stand? The Banu Umayyah hasn't left. Banu Umayyah left close to Imam Raza's time. When Banu Abbas came, Imam Ja'far Sadiq's time, yes? Take a stand. People come to Imam Sajjad and they talk politics with him. You know what Imam Sajjad said? He says, do you know how my father was killed? They killed him like they kill rams and lambs. आप क्या कहेंगे? गम भी ताज़ा है इमाम सज्जाद से। जो इमाम बाकर से बात करते हैं, इमाम बाकर के पास जब भी कुछ आने वाला होता है, सवाल ही पूछते हैं, मेरे दादा का गम मनाते हो? रोते हो मेरे दादा को? करबला तुम लोग भूले तो नहीं हो? करबला तुम लोगों को याद है? अपने बच्चों को बताते हैं? चलिए हम ये कह दें कि इमाम सादिक, क्योंकि इमाम बाकर क्योंकि खुद मौजूद थे, आप कोई भी ह्यूमन रीजन बनाने, क्योंकि उनका मुकाबला तो हो नहीं सकता कि क्या इमाम सादिक क्या बात करेंगे? इमाम सादिक क्या बोले? मैं अपनी बात नहीं कर रहा, मैं रिवायत की बात कर रहा हूँ। बहस करनी हो, सवाल करना, सवाल पूछना, तो जब तक जवाब है हाजिर है। रिवायत के मुकाबले में कौल मत लेके आइएगा, रिवायत के मुकाबले में रिवायत लेके आइएगा। रिवायत के बारे में फलां ने कहा, फलां ने कहा, फलां ने कहा, फलां का कहा, फलां को मुबारक हो। इमाम कहते हैं, इमाम जाफर सादिक अलैहिस्सलाम, कहते हैं जो रोएगा और आंसू निकलेगा, कितना आंसू, जैसे यतीम माँ बच्चे को रोती, ये भी नहीं कहा उन्होंने, कहा रोना तो ऐसा चाहिए, दिस इज हाउ यू सपोज्ड टू क्राई। लेकिन जो रोता है गिरिया करता है, when he cries for who? For Sayyid Shuhada. What is the size of the tear? The wing of a fly. दो पर भी नहीं है सरकार, एक पर। मौलाना हॉस्पिटल, मतलब सिर्फ इमाम हुसैन की गिरिए पे उनको अल्लाह गुनाह माफ कर देगा, जन्नत दे देगी। जब जन्नत के सरदार की जन्नत है, उसकी जन्नत है भाई, उसकी मर्जी जिसको दे, उसकी जागीर है, उसका विरसा, उसकी मिरास, उसकी जन्नत है। Understand, my brothers, the aftermath of Karbala. Many people came to Imam al-Baqir. Many people came to Imam al-Sadiq. Uprising. There's a strife between whom? There's a misunderstanding with Mullah Abbas. Banu Umayyah is on the way out. This is the best time. Let's make a stance. Let's make a qiyam now. Look at the seerah of the Ahlul Bayt post Karbala. Look at the seerah of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam post Karbala. कोई bias तो नहीं है ना? सब यहाँ Ahlul Bayt की मान वाले बैठे हैं ना? सब Ahlul Bayt की मोहब्बत करने वाले source तक जाते हैं, जो मंबा है। Let's go back to the source. What is the seerah of the Ahlul Bayt? How did the Ahlul Bayt behave post Karbala? A man comes to visit Imam Sadiq. Imam says, I heard you say shi'r for Sayyid al-Shuhada. I'd like to listen to those ash'ar. He says, I was reciting the ash'ar and I heard the voices of the Ahl Haram, the household of the Prophet. I heard the voices of the women cry and weep. Imam ने कहा, रुको ना, मेरों की आवाज़ गिरिएगी। सोचें, हम शरीयत नाफिज कर रहे हैं अहले बैत पर, ये शरीयत उनसे लेते हैं हम लोग। How do we behave with the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam? Do we sit with all humility, head down, whatever you say is Sharia, or do we have our own notions in our head and then we go up to the Ahlul Bayt and says, you are supposed to fit in this? It's Ahlul Bayt की बात कर रहे हैं। या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू आमिनू, ऐ लोग जो ईमान ले आए हो, ईमान ले आओ। किस पे ईमान लाए, किस पे ईमान लाना है? ये सवाल पूछें, कुरान से पूछें। मौला कायनात इमाम अली से इस्तंतक़िल कुरान, स्पीक टू द कुरान, नुत्क़ करो कुरान से, सवाल पूछो कुरान से। Ask the Quran, because the Quran will generate within you a concept, a notion, an idea. The Quran will speak only the truth, the absolute truth, the objective truth. But it will leave you thirsty. The Quran will leave you thirsty and you will look for direction and you say, Quran, where do I go? And the Quran will say, where? Inna anzalnahu fi laylatul qadr. Wa ma adraka ma laylatul qadr. Laylatul qadri khayru min alfi shahr. Tanazzalul malaikatu wa ruhu fiha. Where are these arwah coming? Where is this ruh coming? Where are the... You ask the Quran and the Quran will respond. You ask the Quran and the Quran will respond. Allah bless each and every one of you. The sentiment that you have, the pain that you feel for fellow humans and humanity, Allah bless them and Allah bless you. And Allah help you in whatever you've decided to do. May Allah accept from each and every one of you. But brothers, human beings have been on this earth for a long time. Human beings have been on this earth for a long time. we should sit down, we should, with ourselves, reflect and go back and connect with the Imam of our time. Connect with the Imam of our time. Because sometimes haqq will be very difficult to distinguish. Haqq will be very difficult to distinguish. And it is the nature of it. Shaitan will not come blatant, flamboyant, so you are able to identify this is Shaitan and this is Rahman. Shaitan will come in covers and veils. Shaitan will sneak in. Rasulullah had to identify. When you're confused about haqq, after myself, Ali. Ali mal haqq, wal haqq ma Ali. And then he recites a dua after.
Subhanallah.
Rasulullah recites a dua after. Allahumma adir al-haq. Ali के हक में दुआ नहीं हुई है, ये हक के हक में दुआ हुई है। Brothers and those sisters listening, you are more valuable as the lovers of Shaheed al-Shuhada than to become pawns of petty politicians. Not all politicians. Understand the value. Al-mu'minu kayyisun. The mu'min is sharp. He's astute. As soon as you're, and I tell you this to each and every one of you listening, don't fall back on my word. Don't fall back on my word. Because my Allah is also your Allah. My Imam is also your Imam. Every time you feel conflicted or confused, go to the mihrab, go to the alam, go to where you pray. Ya sahib al-zaman adrikni. Come on. Ya sahib al-zaman adrikni. I am confused. I don't know how to behave in this time of peril. I don't know what is my wadifa. Sometimes you hear many words. People say one thing and another group says another thing, and you become lost, and it's true. It happens. You are not lawaris. You are not orphans. You have a sahib. Again, I speak here not because I'm lecturing or I'm here to give a speech. I see my brothers in front of me. And obviously we learn and we grow together. If there's any questions, we can sit down and we can speak on that. Very clearly identified and understood. We are the hizb that Allah has ascribed to Himself. And the hizb and the head of that hizb is Rasulullah, and the flag bearer is Ali Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salatu wasalam. That is the direction, and from them we seek direction. What do we recite in dua? We recite in dua, Allah, I gain or I seek proximity to you through the Ahlul Bayt. Brothers, for an instant, do not drop this. Times will be difficult. When we're tested, we're not tested with something we're able to identify easily. Where is the test then? The test is the test of the nafs, of the intellect, of the heart. Will be tested on many spheres. To each and every one of you, my brothers, I say this and I have a humble request. When confused, sit on your musalla, call to the son of Zahra. He is your Imam, accept him to be your Imam and ask him for guidance. Listen to what people have to say. Yes, because you live in this world. You have to be aware of what is happening in this world. But the son of Zahra should have some agency in your life, yes or no? Is he not afforded a say in our life? या लैतना कुन्ना मअकुम फनफूज़ मअकुम. When you recite this dua, I'll just take a couple, 1 minute or so. What happened when you recite Ya Ashura, when you say Ya laytana kunna ma'akum fanafuza ma'akum? अब तो करबला खत्म हो गई, तो दुआ पढ़ रहे हैं आप. काश आपके साथ होके चले आते. सरकार, आप साहिब ज़मान एक खास वजह से कहते हैं. ज़माना जिसकी गिरफ्त में हो ना, उसको साहिब ज़मान कहते हैं. जिसकी गिरफ्त में ज़माना होता है ना, वो साहिब ज़मान होता है. सरकार, हम और आप ज़माने के पाबंद हैं. ज़माना जिसका पाबंद है वो साहिब ज़मान होता है. आप कहते हैं या लैतना कुन्ना मअकुम फनफूज़ा मअकुम, वो आपके अंदर ऐसा नूर इजाद कर देगा कि आपके अंदर पहुंच जाएगी वो तमाम चीजें पहुंचनी चाहिए जो उनके साथ के अंदर थी. मेरे अल्फाज नहीं, ईमान के अपने अल्फाज. उनका सवाब चाहते हो, ये कहो या लैतना कुन्ना मअकुम फनफूज़ा मअकुम. काम ज़ियारत रेफरेंस एक रखें. सवाब क्यों मिलेगा? अल्लाह गैर आदिल है. अल-अयाज़ बिल्लाह. इज़ अल्लाह अनजस्ट? मैं सिर्फ इबारत पढ़ रहा हूँ. जब मैं इसको पढ़ूंगा और मेरी ज़ात में रूह रवान में उतर जाएगा, तो मैं फिर किसी के सत्ते बदलना शुरू हो जाऊंगा. इखलास चाहिए, इखलास चाहिए, इखलास चाहिए. अज़ीज़ान मोहतरम, बिरादरान अज़ीज़ा, ना इस पे लेबल लगाएं, ना उस पर टैग लगाएं, ना इसको किसी उन्मान के तहत रखें. आपका मामला साहिब ज़मान के साथ है, साहिब आशिया के साथ है, बीवी सईदा सलाम अलैहा. आपको जो सही और शरई लगता है आप करें. जो दूसरा कर रहा है उसको जो सही और शरई लग रहा है वो उस हवाले से करने की कोशिश कर रहा है. क्योंकि इखलास से पता चल जाता है इंसान को. जो शख्स मुखलिस होता है गलत होता है, कल सही हो सकता है. जो मुखलिस नहीं होता, सही रास्ते पे हो, कल इस रास्ते से भटक भी सकता है. इखलास मैं आपको दिखा नहीं सकता, उसे वो जानता है. बात समझ रहे हैं आप? इंसान जो अपनी ज़ात तवज्जो देता है वो फिर हमल कर सकता है बहुत सारे बोझों को. महरम में असरार किबरिया बने तो फिर मसूलियत की झूले की हवा. अज़ीज़ान मोहतरम, सारे असहाब एक तरफ, लेकिन अबुल फज़ल अब्बास तमाम परेशानियां, तमाम मुश्किलों को मुसाइब करने वाला, जो तीर खाते थे अपने बदन पे, अपने जिस्म पे तीर खाते थे. एक बात कहूँगा, मेरे साथ देंगे आप लोग. जो हुसैन के बदन पे नहीं लगा तीर, हुसैन के दिल पे लगा, वो भी अब्बास ने खाया. एक एक जनाजा इमाम हुसैन ने अकेले नहीं उठाया. ऐसा भाई, ऐसा बाबा, तो फिर वो मकाम मिलता है कि इमाम सादिक करबला को जाता है कि देखो हमारे की खबर पे जाना, तो अबुल वफा है, बाबुल वफा है, बाबुल हवाइज है, इनके पास जाना और ज़ियारत मैं तुम्हें सिखा रहा हूँ ताकि इस तरह से ज़ियारत करना. किसकी? अबुल फज़ल अब्बास. ज़ियारत मैं सिखाई देता हूँ ताकि इस तरह से ज़ियारत करना. जहाद का फिल्लाही, और किस किस्म का जिहाद? बज़ल जुहद, यानी अब इसके बाद कोई गुंजाइश रह नहीं गई, सब कुछ तो कुर्बान कर दिया. सब कुछ तो कुर्बान कर दिया. और जब कुछ नहीं बचा कुर्बान करने के लिए, तो क्या कहा अपने आका से, शोहदा से? कहा आका, एक वसीयत है, ये है कि मुझे खैमों में मत लेके जाइए. क्यों खैमों में ना लेके जाए अब्बास? Why should I not take you back to where I've been taking everyone all morning? दो वजूहात हो सकती. एक, भतीजी से वादा किया है, शर्मिंदा मत कीजिएगा. दूसरी बात, how is it possible कि सबके जनाजे तो क़याम में आए, लेकिन आपके जनाजा उठाने वाला कोई ना. जब आका का जनाजा मैदान करबला बेगोरों का, तो अब्बास को भी ये बर्दाश्त नहीं कि अब्बास के ज़िम्मे में जनाजा.